let's okay. Let me give
We
you
are
guys.
here for like today.
Yeah, we're professionals.
Exactly.
All right, let me hit y'all with the synopsis for the fall of the Roman Empire. All right. Towards the end of his reign, Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius intends to hand over his throne to the steadfast soldier Livius. Before he can enact his intentions, a loyalist to Commodus, the de facto heir, poisons Aurelius. Commodus becomes an ineffectual leader, corrupt and pompous. And although Livius concedes to Commodus' rule, he cannot stand by when Commodus threatens to kill Aurelius' daughter, Lucilla. Lucilla, played by the Tasty Slice. Confirmed. Sophia Loren.
Yeah, this movie was well, obviously this is our box office flops month. It lost a ton of money.
Oh yeah,
It's actually, I
yeah,
think, one of the
yeah. Okay, so like we
ever.
have two separate accounts. So one says that it's 16 million, and the other is 20 million. So it lost. So the budget the budget for this movie was between 16 to 20 million. And if it's the 20 million, it's still not including like marketing material and all the other like little extras. But the total box office earning was just shy of $5 million, 4.8 million to be precise.
And I think this is one of the last, or two of the movies that we're doing this month were epic. You know, the big,
Yeah, kind of like the sword and sandals type of epics.
yeah, and this is, I think, one of the very last that were done. This meant that both the movies that we're going to talk about lost a shit ton.
Yeah, yeah,
They were full of money.
yeah. I mean, yeah, this movie only made five. So it literally only made 20%. If we're gonna use the 20 million, let's just round. If we're rounding up and saying 5 million, and we use a $20 figure, it literally only made back one fourth, quarter of its no,
Yeah,
yes, yeah, quarter of its budget.
that's terrible. Well, and the crazy thing about it is that the film itself is actually, I personally think, is pretty good. Um, I think the
As
story,
do I. I thought it was
yeah,
really great. Like the scale of it, the caliber of actors
yeah,
cast in
we
this
have
movie. Dude, Alec
great
Guinness.
actors.
You put Alec Guinness in anything, it's good.
Oh, him as Marcus Aurelius was perfect. I mean, he looks like Marcus Aurelius.
Right? Yeah. If you ever seen a bust of Marcus Aurelius, is that Alec Guinness or is that Marcus Aurelius? Not to shit on who's the one that the actor in Gladiator that played Marcus Aurelius.
Mm, I
He also
forget who
played.
that was.
Yeah, he was the first one to play Dumbledore in the Harry Potter movies.
Um,
Yeah, his name
I forget
escapes me.
the guy that died, right? He's
Yeah,
dead.
Richard something. But anyways, yeah. But not to shit on that actor's performance because I really liked that actor's performance. Richard Harris. That's who it was. I knew I was gonna get there.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I liked his
but
performance as well. But like in terms of physicality, I think uh, Alec Guinness gets it.
so the one thing uh, with movies, obviously there you have the love between Olivia and Scylla, uh, and they can't quite seem to come together. And getting in the way. So obviously you have like this love story between these two characters. You have the idea that the empire is where we're seeing when we're looking at the Roman Empire in film, it's at its height, but the events that take place or what caused the beginning and of the empire. And it deals with a lot of the wars up in the northern territories with the Germanic tribes, uh, and then it's also
Right, Vindobona, which
rebellion.
is present day Vienna.
Yeah, and then the you also have like the rebellions that were rising east uh, around that too, and so like so you have all these this tension going on, not with the empire, with between, between the characters, and it's just so good. But let me talk about the set design because first of all, with these epics, they're always filmed on location. Like I think a lot of this is
Mm-hmm.
filmed in Spain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Northeast.
makes sense.
Yeah, like that one part like, where it's actually snowing. Yeah, it was snowing. That was they were filming that during like a blizzard.
Right, yeah, like some like a lot of the times when you watch these movies, and particularly when like they're supposed to represent like cold, frigid climates, you see the snow falling, but you miss the. I think the smallest detail, which is like I think what really sells it, is the breath.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch a lot of shows or movies now, whenever they do a scene where people are supposed to be in like some intemperate frigid climate, you never see the cold, you never see their breath,
Yeah,
but you never see the cloud, hot air coming from their mouths, or if they do, they digitally insert it and it looks completely wrong.
yeah. No, this is they were
But
freezing
yeah,
their ass.
but in this movie, yeah, they shot in like the frigid, climate, and you can see the breath, and it's like natural, as they are, talking or breathing heavily, it's just like clouds, just like that's right, which sells it even better, that it's like it's supposed to be cool.
Yeah. Then the Roman Forum, they built a 92,000 square meter replica of the Roman. Holy shit, that's
Right.
huge.
Hmm.
I mean, like that whole like area that they built up was just phenomenal.
Right. I mean, they built ramps and stairs, and just like the level of detail in the sets was just awe-inspiring.
Costume design was great.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, like everyone was like ornate, and I dare say period accurate. I
yeah,
think maybe taking some liberties, like with like the soldiers, crests on their helmet, or kind of like the ornamentation of like their armor. But I mean, mostly accurate,
right.
I'd say.
Um, and then
But
the music.
yeah,
Well, the music was also just fantastic. That actually won them an Academy. I think it won them some sort of award. I'm not sure if it was like a Golden Globe or an Academy Award or something.
right, but yeah, yeah. But
Um,
people who watch this movie, I think, I alluded to it earlier, but you might find it there might be some familiar elements in this movie, and I obviously noticed it, and that it reminded me a lot of the movie Gladiator from 2002 or 2001.
I think
Because
yeah,
that because that movie also centered around Marcus Aurelius and his children, and the soldier, that he that Marcus Aurelius thought of as a son and wanted him to succeed him. Uh, but he has like this conflict, and but before he could answer Marcus Aurelius, he ends up dying, So
Yeah.
and and it culminates in a hand-to-hand combat, in front of a crowd. So a lot of familiar beats to this movie. If you've seen Gladiator, you'll watch this movie. It's like I see where Ridley Scott got his inspiration.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's probably watched some of these sort of sample from thousands or all over the place. Um, the you also see like obviously I think after like the chariot ride event, I think like everyone you had like uh, chariot battle between Olivia
Right, a la Ben Hur. Yeah,
and comedy. Yeah, that's like oh yeah, they clearly sold out.
yeah.
Yeah, just a really great movie.
What was that last bit?
I thought it looked great. I thought no, I was saying it's like it's just a great looking movie. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
story is if, if you're looking for like best epic, I wouldn't say this is the best one. I would recommend Ben Hur as uh, over this one, but it's still pretty dang good.
um, was anything surprise you about this movie?
I was I thought it was gonna be. I guess if anything was like surprising, I would say it's like I was just like surprised at how like like the how well it was acted, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised at how it like why it lost. I'd be curious why it lost so much. Was it they just spent so much money, and or was it something else that it was just at the box office that caused people to not want to go see it? Was it potentially was it too long? I know that was some of the you know critics did not like length. They felt like the act they didn't like how it was acted. Felt like it was too much in one film.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't like surprising. You obviously like see how this movie was influenced by past effects, how it influenced other films of its time later. That I mean, yeah, like once you mentioned that, I was like, oh yeah, duh.
Yeah. Um, well, maybe uh, a theory as to why it bombed in the box office. Maybe it was just kind of like I don't know if it was necessarily coined uh, uh, today, but maybe it was just kind of well, not franchise, but I guess genre fatigue. Kind of like how they're people like kind of how uh, the way they're justifying the flops for Star Wars movies. It's just like, oh, it's just franchise fatigue. Even though at the time, Marvel was still going strong, but maybe at this point in cinema, people were kind of getting tired of like the big epics. And this movie came out in 1964, and
You might be right
so
about that, but you look, but I think that question might be better answered when you watch Cleopatra later this month,
all right, are those
because
movies
that
contemporaries?
yeah the Cleopatra came out in 1963, the year before this one, and
Uh-huh.
it was technically now here's that movie yet lost a lot of money because they spent shit nearly bankrupted Fox,
Mhm.
but the it was a box office success. Like it made a lot of money in the box office. It just didn't make enough to cover the losses or cover the production costs. And
Did it even break even though?
um, um, it was I think it was close to breaking. Like we'll get into that like a little bit later. But I'm wondering if like this one was like a box office success. Will we see like was this one much dramatic or like was something done better? Um, was or like said is it just completely genre?
Yeah, genre fatigue.
But because we're moving in from we're coming from like the 40s, 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s, where you like, going to the was a you don't want an hour film. You want to be there for theater. By the time the 60s hit, people probably didn't want that. And to think that you know not 5 years later we're getting films like Midnight Cowboy after seeing movies like this,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like two completely different decades series.
What was that last bit?
No, what I was saying is like you get like a movie like this one, and 5 years later you get like a movie like Midnight Cowboy, 69, and it's almost like it's on a different line. Yeah,
Right, right. Even though
that's
they came out relatively close to each other.
right.
Yeah, it was really weird. In terms of story wise, the only thing that really surprised me was the revelation that Commodus wasn't Marcus Aurelius' son.
Yeah, because that's not true.
Right, right. I know that was true, but for the sake of the story in this movie, I thought I was actually really blindsided by that.
Yeah, it was. Well, no. It was. No, he was his son, but um, it was
No,
Livius
no,
that was.
he was, yeah. I mean, no, but he wasn't like Marcus Aurelius' biological son, because
Oh, right.
that gladiator trainer came out and said like, oh no, I'm his father. Me and the emperor, me and the empress, got it on, and that's how Commodus was
That's
conceived.
okay. Yeah. Well, and then yeah, like but in this case, like in this film, Marcus Aurelius had heirs.
Right, technically, yeah, like technically he didn't have an heir, and maybe that's why he wanted Livius to be his successor, because he knew
Right.
that because he knew Commodus wasn't his son, and he couldn't trust, even though you know maybe there was like that kind of this bias towards him, knowing the fact that he wasn't his son, so maybe he didn't show him as much love as he did Lucilla. But he, even though despite his best efforts to try to raise him, he just saw that he wouldn't have been a good emperor.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, because I think as much liberty they took with this movie, I think they still try to keep. Well, I mean, even to some degree, a lot of the stuff a lot of stuff we know about Marcus Aurelius, is kind of romanticized, because everyone knows, or everyone is familiar with Marcus Aurelius, like the philosopher king. But he was earlier in his life, he was all about the conquest.
Yeah. Well, I mean that was part of all those past romance. Emperors have they expanded the empire
Right.
So yeah, they were all about the conquering.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah, that's kind of like the rule of empire. If you have an empire, you have to conquer some people to help
Yeah,
subsidize and to keep things going. I mean, because yeah, I think historically and in the movie they admit that Egypt and Syria is the breadbasket of the empire. Because there's not much agricultural industry within the physical country of Italy. They're
right,
having
right.
all their they're having all their this is historic also, not just in the movie, but they're having all their food shipped in from somewhere else. Similarly to the United States, how they kind of, all the industries have mostly been outsourced to China. And our supply lines have lengthened, or are completely out of our
Right.
control.
Uh, Not a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, I think one of the blessings of this pandemic is the realization that we need to start being able to take care of ourselves and fend for ourselves. And one of those is shortening supply lines.
Hmm. What was there like a scene from this movie that like stood out to you that you really liked, that was like really powerful to you?
A scene that stood out to me that was powerful. I think the one that kind of like sticks with me for multiple reasons is that scene where James Mason's character converts the barbarians essentially.
Yes. That was that was good. Well,
Yeah, I thought I actually really liked that scene, but it was so funny because he acted it. James Mason, God bless him, but the acting was like pretty hammy. Yeah, and
yes,
uh,
it was.
and and the kind of incongruent in that like they're like basically burning his hand, but it's like the next scene when he stands before the Roman Senate and he's like arguing like why they should make the barbarians Roman citizens. His hand is like completely fine, even though even though as he's talking he like kind of rubs his arm or like kind of like the wrist area to imply that it was damaged, or
Right, right.
there's some like unseen damage that he's like hiding or whatever. Uh, but yeah, I really like that scene because it's he got to show he got to show the barbarians like the resolve of Rome, of Roman citizens,
Right, right.
which ultimately converted them because they come from an honor culture. And James Mason's character, he could have screamed and had the guards come in and like just end up slaughtering all of them. But he showed them uh, the Roman resolve, and so like converted them, and even like uh, you know forsook their gods. And and James Mason's character, he was like surprised, like, no, I'm not saying that you have to give up your gods or your traditions. But then like the barbarian responds back like, but I thought you wanted us to be Romans. So that means, so it's like, if we're
Yeah,
gonna be Romans, then we're gonna be Romans. That means we're gonna adopt. Roman values. We're going to adopt Roman traditions. We're going to be Roman.
Yeah, I kind of like the scene at the last scene where they're yeah, Commodus is dead. They're oh, uh, Livius as emperor, and he's like, "You don't want me as emperor because my first order of business is to crucify every single one of you." And like him and Drusilla exit the scene. They walk away and you see like this giant fire, people that they burning to death and sacrifice. Just the argument against the senator trying to bribe the army to shoot them. And it's just uh, uh, it's obviously it's talking about the fall of the Roman Empire. It's you see like as the movie ends, the whole thing descended into chaos.
Right? Yeah, that was again. We're of the same mind. I just thought it was so. I thought it was so crazy how um, their society became so corrupt that the title of emperor can be bought, or at least in the minds of those senators, it could be bought. And
Yeah,
and it was crazy because yeah, like that one senator bribed that general. It's like, hey, like no matter who wins, if you claim me, if you pronounce me as emperor, I'll pay you. I think it was like 1,000,000 dinar or whatever, which I think
it's a lot of
today's is it's in today's money is a shit ton of money. Like more, it's probably more than like you know, all the richest men in America. Fine, that's
yeah,
how much. It was like he was essentially promising the world that's what that senator was offering that guard that general. It's like I'm giving you the world. Just make me the emperor. But then because of honor or whatever, the general proclaims Livius as Caesar, and as like you were saying, he said that you don't want me to be Caesar because my first act would be to kill y'all, yo. But it was crazy because they were like they try to buy the emperor, the emperor title. So one senator is like, oh, I'll give you 2 million, or I'll give you 2.5, and it's like constantly, as they're walking away, this is like they're trying to buy the throne,
yeah.
and it's like that's how
Good,
corrupt it's become.
right. Well, I mean, even like the whole, obviously in real life, Marcus Aurelius died of natural causes, but this, um, they didn't like in the movie. They didn't like Aurelius. They put, so what they did is they worked to kill him so that they would, because they knew that Commodus would did not his father's empire. So by putting him in, uh, it kind of it changed, you know, how so it, like you said, it had already kind of started to descend into corruption. Uh, you see that small, uh, that small turn into the descendant chaos that we see at the end of the film.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, because even like Commodus, like after Commodus, sends the messengers and to tell Livius like, hey, if you come back, we'll be co-emperors. You'll be by my side. We'll rule the empire together. But then he immediately, and then Livia sends back his reply, which is to send the messengers back, in humiliation. And it was immediately at that point when Commodus orders that all the gold off the public sculptures and buildings be ripped, be pulled out, just so we can have enough money, to bribe the rebel army, which does work, sadly to say.
Yeah, they gave it because I think Soldier, like I think it was denarius for 2 a day, and they were being offered 3,000.
Yeah,
Just
3,000 each. 3,000 each to each soldier, and
yeah,
so yeah, like one of the joke was, like I think it was Lucilla who said, like, there's not enough gold in the entire empire for that, and all of a sudden it's like, I got receipts, and so, like, it gives a signal and the wagons come forward, like all this gold, all these newly minted dinar,
yeah,
which goes to show you another problem is, like, devaluing of the currency.
yeah,
I think historically, Marcus Aurelius did uh, reduce the purity of the silver of the dinar by
right,
adding more base metals into it. Um, but again, that all it did, it just devalued the currency, which then which led to inflation.
right. And
Which
then
we
it became
see
the point where like the money became almost useless. So
exactly. Yeah, so
people
like
wouldn't
the
even take.
percentage of base metals was starting to become more than the percentage of actual silver. So, like, so making it utterly useless.
Which is slowly what our is becoming.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't I don't think I have anything else on this film.
Yeah, neither do I.
Well, let's
So yeah, let's wrap it up. Let's give our ratings
give our
and
review. Um, I, I'm gonna give this a I'm gonna give it a 3. Just because I love the set design so much.
mhm,
I love the idea of them filming kind of like, realistic as possible. That's why I love this genre of film. I think the acting is pretty good. Yeah, got pretty uh, high caliber talent, and the music was fantastic. Story was not too bad. It was okay.
mhm.
But yeah, it was not the best epic film, but decent one. I think it's one that people should check out.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna give this a 3 as well. Not Yeah, again, not the best epic in the history of cinema, but yeah, I think the merits of its set design and a lot of, like, the technical things around this movie do save it, or do keep it within north of a 2 rating. And again, and then also, like you said, the casting was on point. The caliber of actors was just perfection.
Oh yeah, it was very well.
And so, yeah, for those reasons, I'm gonna give this Fall of the Roman Empire a 3 as well.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
just working like 10-hour days killing me.
All right, then. Yeah, let's wrap this up. That's our review for Fall of the Roman Empire. Both Robert and I give this a 3. We would recommend it, um, but I would say, and I think Robert would agree, watch the truth, the Stefan Molyneux video, "Truth of the Fall of the Roman Empire,"
Yeah.
first. Then, I mean, and you could totally stagger this, because, like, that Stefan Molyneux video is like 2 hours long. This movie is like close to 3 hours long, so yes, stagger it out. or
Yeah, yeah.
chop it up, chop up. I would recommend watching the Seven Molyneux video straight through, but you could chop watch the movie.
You can split into 3 acts.
Yeah, exactly.